1817, there was a great deal of excitement in London because of various Egyptian items that would soon be arriving in the city and put on display. The Rosetta Stone had recently arrived in Britain and was displayed at the British Museum. However, newly expected in London was the massive figure of the Pharaoh Ramesses II, taken from the King's Temple at Thebes, an amazing piece of work carved in blue and white granite. The Romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley was one of the people fascinated by all these items coming from Egypt. His literary friend, Thomas Love Peacock, took him around the British Museum to see those recently acquired Elgin marbles that were on display there, and the men probably discussed going also to see the new head and torso of Ramesses II when it finally arrived. Shelley was so interested in the idea of this statue that he challenged a friend of his, a very minor poet called Horace Smith, and suggested that both of them write a poem on the subject of the expected statue. Horace Smith produced a perfectly workmanlike poem, in fact far better than many of us could manage, and Shelley ended up writing Ozymandias, probably his most anthologized poem and one of the greatest sonnets ever written. Ozymandias. I met a traveller from an antique land, who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings, look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Shelley wrote that great poem, Ozymandias, without ever having seen the statue of Ramesses II. Ozymandias, by the way, was the Greek name for the Pharaoh Ramses, who lived round about the years 1279 through to 1213 BC. Although the statue was expected in London in 1818, it only actually arrived in 1821. So Shelley wrote that great sonnet about the inevitable decline of rulers, the ravages of time, the hubris of leaders who think they are all important and become nothing but a colossal wreck in the end. It was the very last poem that he ever wrote in England. After that he left for the continent, and it was first published in the year January 1818. Percy Bysshe Shelley had a hatred of power. He disliked the power of the church, the army, and the government. He hated the idea of royalty, and he wanted to stress that power and imperialism could be destroyed, and that the forces of human love and freedom and nature could, in the end, reassert themselves. So it's a very powerful poem. It's interesting that he wrote it without ever actually having seen the statue, but you can have a look at that great statue of Ramesses II in the British Museum today.